Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm very excited to have a conversation with Bill Laidler, the founder of Laidler Group, to talk about a critical real estate issue today. Really, it's all about affordable housing, the missing middle. And the Laidler Group's come up with a fantastic program to create affordable homes that allow young families and empty nesters to continue living in the communities they know and love. As housing costs continue to rise, many people are finding it very difficult to stay in the neighborhoods where they grew up or built the strong roots. Bill and his team at Latham Group are addressing this challenge head on through an innovative approach with multiplex developments. These projects aim to provide attainable housing options and while maintaining character and vibrancy of the local communities. Today, I'm going to dive into Bill's journey in real estate, his expertise in multiplex development, and how he's working to building this affordability, bringing back those vibrant communities that we all grew up with. So welcome, Bill. Maybe you can
Hi.
share a bit about your journey in real estate.
Hi, Cynthia. Thanks for having me. I was licensed after I completed law school in 2014. Didn't have any idea about real estate development, 25 years old. I was just selling houses like a regular real estate agent. Fortunate to have knocked on the door of the mayor of Port Moody's home, who happened to live in an area that was designated for multifamily. And Mike Clay took me under his wing, taught me about real estate development, how the city looks at what areas to redesignate for higher density in the future, and introduced me to a number of my first builder clients who were acquiring small townhouse sites in the local Port Moody Center area. From that relationship, grew to being one of the highest producing land assembly agents in the Tri-Cities, sold many sites through the North Road corridor and the Burquitlam plan, which is how we originally crossed paths
That's
almost 10
right.
years ago,
Yeah.
and continued to buy properties on the side that had development potential, and was collecting a decent development land bank that eventually turned into joint venture partnerships and the completion of Sitka House, an 88-unit wood frame condo building in Port Moody that was a joint venture partnership with Dulex Construction.
So then what led you to, now you've expanded. In fact, you're not licensed right now. You've totally focused on the Laidler Group and focused on multiplex. So, maybe tell us a little bit about what got you there.
We were always looking at gaps in the marketplace. So, for example, for Sitka House, our average unit size was less than 525 square feet. Our average gross sale price was under $550,000, which it really protected us against the market. Most developers had 650 square foot one bedrooms, and there was a $200,000 gap that allowed us to sell out in 3 weeks when we were in one of the more difficult markets with raising interest rates and uncertainty in pre-sale condos.
So maybe those are some of your standout and achievements, and really gave you a good idea of what you need to do to survive those ups and downs. I take it.
Yes, and we've seen a similar opportunity arise here for the first time that I've been in real estate when the provincial government mandated for cities across Metro Vancouver and the province to pre-zone single-family lots to 4 to 6 unit townhouse projects. And this is critically important because when I did Sitka House, and as much of a success as it was 8 years from the time I first acquired the land to when we're giving keys over to the new homeowners in the summer of this year.
Wow, that's a long time. And they say it's getting, they say the bureaucracy is supposedly getting to be less. So, I mean, if you were to talk about what do you think? I mean, I can see why your approach is unique, but really, how are you more competitive than others in the industry?
In terms of the 4 to 6 unit space, there is going to be increased supply because of the pre-zoning. Builders know that we can now get building permits to start construction within 12 months, significantly reducing the holding cost risk, the market risk, the interest rate risk, the political risk. All of the risk factors that we have in the 8-year timelines are reduced with the shorter turnarounds. It becomes now about the best location, the best floor plans, and the highest quality builders who can build for effective hard cost numbers. Through our real
Good.
estate career, we were one of the top 5 agents in Remax Western Canada and specialized in working with these small builders who were building single family homes and now are well positioned to move into building the 4 to 6 unit townhouse projects. We've had to sell the builders who have great quality, and we've also had to sell homes from the builders that the quality is not so good. And Laidler Capital is committed to only working with the best builders who can deliver at the right price points and the right quality to be successful.
So that just leads right into my next question. What sparked the idea to create the Laidler Capital Fund?
I've told you many times that my first development wasn't as good of a success as my second, third, and fourth one. My first development, I invested with my brother, and we took too high of debt. We didn't have the experience to hold the construction teams accountable. And unfortunately for my brother, he invested all of his investment equity into that one project. And when it didn't perform as well as expected, he was then out of the marketplace for 5 years and missed a lot of the growth from 2016 to 2021. So when we're looking at investing our own money and our friends and family's money and want to take care of it at the highest level, it's important that we're diversified in our approach and that we invest into the projects so that if one of them doesn't perform as well as expected, you still have an opportunity to make up on the other ones that overperform, reducing the risk that you pick the wrong one, giving a higher likelihood that we'll be able to provide the projected returns.
So you would describe that as the main focus, preservation of capital, focusing on the best, and shortening and tightening the timelines.
100%.
So can you describe the markets and the types of properties that you're focusing on and the builders a little bit more granular for our audience?
A great example of one of the builders who applied for funding with Laidler Capital is Avera Developments. Avera is one of the leaders in multiplex construction because they were building multiplexes in Vancouver before multiplexes were even a thing. The closest comparable multiplex before the new R1-1 zoning was character retention, where they would purchase an older home, add 3 to 4 units, and restore the character home. And they've completed over 10 of these types of projects before multiplex. In addition, they are also a specialist in net zero homes, which provides an extra bonus density of 19% that developers who can't build in net zero cannot access. Avera was part of the developers who were on the roundtable with the City of Vancouver, helping define and craft the R1-1 zoning, and they're consistently in contact with the city planners and managers on refining the zoning.
Awesome. What kind of returns are you expecting from the fund? And maybe talk about how you come up with these projections in today's market.
The biggest risk in the pro formas is the revenue number because we haven't seen any multiplexes in the immediate form be sold in the last, they've never been sold many times. There are comparables like townhomes and there are comparables like duplexes, but there's not direct comparables for these 4 to 6 unit multiplexes. So when we're looking at the revenue prices, one of the most important factors is the location. I'm much more comfortable underwriting and funding a project that's going into an exclusive single family neighborhood that has the best school districts, quiet streets, access to parks, and has never seen brand new product in the affordable price point. An example in Burnaby is the Government Road area. A brand new home starts at $4 million. A 6 unit townhouse will provide a 20% annual return to the investors at a $1.6 million sale price. We have a lot of protection there because there's no other options for families in that specific neighborhood.
And it's desirable, as you mentioned. It's very family friendly, parks, beautiful green space. So, how do you strike a balance between taking risks and ensuring good returns? I think you've touched on them by, sticking to great neighborhoods, park access, good family neighborhoods. But do you have any other mitigating risk factors? How do you smooth out and ensure that you've got some protection for the investors?
So the first one is the track record of the builder. A 2 year timeline can quickly evaporate if you have the wrong consultant team, if you have delays within your permitting process, or if there's errors within the construction. So picking the right builders will be the highest likelihood of future success. After picking the right builders, we have metrics in place to confirm revenues. For many of the builders who apply, we require them to have a pre-sale in place to give us certainty on the revenue. Alternatively, if we have high levels of confidence on that revenue number because there are good comparables in place, then we'll ensure there's an independent third-party appraisal that will help us project the revenue side of the pro forma.
So lots of info, lots of intel, plus a lot of due diligence done both on the builder side as well as the pro formas.
Yes, in the Multiplex Intensive, which is one of our training programs where we train builders, developers, and realtors, this opportunity. Yesterday, we had a poll on that one project that Avera is pulling together, and most of the realtors projected higher numbers than what we're budgeting in the pro forma.
And so I guess it's your relationships, it's your research, and it's knowing a lot of realtors in the business that help you find the best investment opportunities.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
what are the top reasons, if you were to talk to someone and had to give them three reasons why they should consider investing with Laidler Capital, what would be those reasons that you would give them?
It's the same reasons why I'm moving my equity to Laidler Capital as well. Number one, I'm moving out of the 6-story multifamily space because the investment timelines are significantly reduced from 5 to 8 years to 2 to 3 years. Number two is the reduced political risk. When we were acquiring sites for multifamily, we had to be concerned about when each new civic election cycle was, because one set of bylaws could be completely different with a new mayor and council. The 12-month building permit timeline within the 4 to 6 units allows us to have entitlement within 1 year, exposing us to political risk for 1 year, which isn't zero, by the way. It's still, the cities are updating everything every single month, and we have to stay on top of each city to ensure that we're watching what changes are happening, because it is consistently fluid. Or we're much more comfortable with a 12-month political risk exposure than a 4 or 5, 6-year risk exposure.
Yes, I agree. And I guess that leads it right to Later Academy. So I know that you've developed a number of courses. I'm not sure how many, but there's been a number of realtors, builders, investors go through these courses, and they're really designed to teach people about the investment, about the opportunity. Maybe you could touch on your commitment to education, and how you feel it benefits the investors as well.
When we started Laidler Academy over 2 years ago, wasn't sure exactly where or how it was going to benefit us. This was before the provincial mandates came in, but we knew through that experience getting Sick House approved how delicate public consultation is and how important it is to have community champions that support the company and were there for us through our public hearing, and wanted to ensure that we reduce that risk in the future by having great relationships with the right type of community members. That was the original idea with Laidler Academy, and then it's taken off from there because the industry needs to be retrained from residential resale to now a quasi-commercial realtor. It helps the investors because we now have over 2,000 realtors who have gone through our live training, either through webinars, live events, or through our paid courses. And they're consistently sending us opportunities, and we're able to select the right ones for our investors. And the ones that we don't like are still being purchased by other builders at higher prices than what we would have offered, or in subpar locations. So these relationships have really helped us with selection and acquisitions in which properties Laidler Development selects, and also referrals to the other builders who are the right fit for Laidler Capital funding.
So this is the start of your journey. Where do you see Laidler Capital in 5 years? Like, how many funds do you anticipate each year? What are you projecting?
So for 2025, we're raising $40 million with a main focus within small scale multi-unit housing. And majority of our focus is small scale multi-unit housing today because there's still a knowledge gap in the marketplace. One of the properties that we've acquired was acquired for $1.95 million, and the appraisal based on the residual land value is $2.7 million. The entire marketplace hasn't understood what the value of land is, and there's many underpriced listings in the marketplace, and we'll focus on working on those projects for the next 6 months. Once the first pre-sales come out and the market's fully aware of what the revenue numbers are, those returns are going to start to equalize, and we'll start coming back down to 15% return on cost, and we'll still be profitable, but won't be as profitable as getting ahead of the market today. Next year and in following years, we'll expand the fund to go back into multifamily developments in the 4 to 6 story range on the strata side, and then start building the rental apartment pool in addition to the strata construction.
So lots of exciting opportunities ahead, really. That's what you're telling me. If you had to share one key takeaway about the Laidler Capital Fund, what would it be?
It's critically important for me that whoever works with us and partners with us has long-term success. My success is their success. We're young in this business, and we will do everything in our power to ensure that they have all the right information to make an educated decision. We can't eliminate all of the risk, but our commitment is that all the information will be laid out in front of whoever wants to partner with us so then they can make an educated decision, and then we'll do everything in our power to execute on our business plan.
To those watching, I have worked with Bill over the past 2 months. Bill runs, he doesn't walk. I'm very impressed with what you've done, having known you for the last 10 years and watched what you've done in the land assembly space. So, for any investors who want to be part of the fund's launch in January, please reach out either to Laidler Group or myself and get on that priority VIP list. This is going to go very quickly, and we're really looking forward to the future with Laidler Group. Thanks, Bill, for taking the time.
Thank you, Cynthia. Let's go help some more grandkids live closer to their grandparents.
Exactly. Let's make those communities exciting, lively, energetic with young families and a combination of older people that don't want to leave and go away. So I'm really excited about this. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks, Cynthia.